That is a clear blue sky. The man left the majestic Gothic-style church, and above the refreshing summer breeze, he looked up and saw the endless expanse of blue. Ichijo Kaoru squinted his eyes, feeling as if he was being drawn into and harmonizing with it. The blue color of the sky has been his favorite color since he was a child. And now it is also the most difficult color to look at. Since then. No, let's stop there. It's not appropriate now to remember those memories. With the sound of the carillon, colorful flowers flew into the view of the blue sky, and Ichijo returned to reality. The blessings of the flower shower brightened the smile of the bride and groom as they descended the grand staircase. The groom is Sakurai Tsuyoshi, and the bride is Sasayama Nozomi. Both of them were Ichijo's comrades who fought together 13 years ago at the Special Investigation Division for Unidentified Living Beings, under the Central Police Department. Ichijo came to a wedding hall with a swimming pool in the garden in Kita Ward, Saitama City, to congratulate the couple. It's really great, Ichijo. The wedding rolls are delicious too. I went to eat at the bride's house and decided to try it first. Seeing Ichijo arrive at the ceremony early, Sakurai greeted him with joy. He was a wholehearted and strong-willed person, and his meticulous notes were very helpful in solving cases. He used to be impulsive and hot-tempered, but it was surprising that he is now known as the calmest and gentlest boss at the Ikebukuro Police Department, and many subordinates seem to admire him. After the investigation division was disbanded, he persistently invited the bride to go out with him, and they met and separated many times until they got married. There were rumors that the bride took a long time to completely give up her unrequited love. At that time, Nozomi was only 21 years old and mainly worked as a radio operator for the police. When she first started her job, she overcame many difficulties and is now a female motorcycle police officer. Nozomi wore a pure white wedding dress, elegant and beautiful to the point where it's hard to imagine her pulling a nearly 300 kilograms police motorcycle. Ichijo couldn't imagine that brave image, so he unconsciously looked up at the sky again. To think that the days of chasing unidentified living beings with patrol cars under her guidance have been over for more than a decade. That is a clear blue sky. The man left the majestic Gothic-style church, and above the refreshing summer breeze, he looked up and saw the endless expanse of blue. Ichijo Kaoru squinted his eyes, feeling as if he was being drawn into and harmonizing with it. The blue color of the sky has been his favorite color since he was a child. And now it is also the most difficult color to look at. Since then. No, let's stop there. It's not appropriate now to remember those memories. With the sound of the carillon, colorful flowers flew into the view of the blue sky, and Ichijo returned to reality. The blessings of the flower shower brightened the smile of the bride and groom as they descended the grand staircase. The groom is Sakurai Tsuyoshi, and the bride is Sasayama Nozomi. Both of them were Ichijo's comrades who fought together 13 years ago at the Special Investigation Division for Unidentified Living Beings, under the Central Police Department. Ichijo came to a wedding hall with a swimming pool in the garden in Kita Ward, Saitama City, to congratulate the couple. It's really great, Ichijo. The wedding rolls are delicious too. I went to eat at the bride's house and decided to try it first. Seeing Ichijo arrive at the ceremony early, Sakurai greeted him with joy. He was a wholehearted and strong-willed person, and his meticulous notes were very helpful in solving cases. He used to be impulsive and hot-tempered, but it was surprising that he is now known as the calmest and gentlest boss at the Ikebukuro Police Department, and many subordinates seem to admire him. After the investigation division was disbanded, he persistently invited the bride to go out with him, and they met and separated many times until they got married. There were rumors that the bride took a long time to completely give up her unrequited love. At that time, Nozomi was only 21 years old and mainly worked as a radio operator for the police. When she first started her job, she overcame many difficulties and is now a female motorcycle police officer. Nozomi wore a pure white wedding dress, elegant and beautiful to the point where it's hard to imagine her pulling a nearly 300 kilograms police motorcycle. Ichijo couldn't imagine that brave image, so he unconsciously looked up at the sky again. To think that the days of chasing unidentified living beings with patrol cars under her guidance have been over for more than a decade, Sugita joked, and all three of them laughed. In the midst of this, Ichijo deeply felt the profound changes in the people he had once stood shoulder to shoulder with. In the flow of 13 years, each person had a different everyday life from back then. It was natural, but Ichijo felt like he was the only one standing still amidst thick walls. It wasn't just a normal restless thought. He realized the weight of the loneliness he had burdened himself with. I don't want to say it, but it's really sad. Sugita's words startled Ichijo. He thought that the old man could see through the thoughts he was trying to hide. However, Sugita's gaze passed over Ichijo and turned to the empty seat next to him. The food had been brought there, but there was no one sitting. And it would remain empty until the end of the feast. The name written on the seat card was Godai Yusuke. That was the wish of Sakurai and Nozomi. Without him, they wouldn't have been able to enjoy this happy time. And because of him, the two realized they had become stronger. To express their gratitude, the couple arranged a seat for the adventurer who had been out of contact for 13 years. Godai Yusuke. As the congratulatory speech for the bride and groom began, Ichijo muttered to himself. When he saw the 4 letters on the seat card from his perspective, he could clearly see that smile. He met Godai Yusuke on January 30, 2000, in the second winter after he transferred from the National Police Agency Security Bureau to the Nagano Prefectural Police Department. On that day, Ichijo went to the excavation site of the Kuuga ruins in the mountainous area of Kamina District, Nagano Prefecture, to verify the on-site investigation of an accident that occurred the day before. A research group from the History Department, Shinano University, was investigating the scene, as the accident had resulted in the deaths of 5 people, including Professor Natsume Kokichi, then 46 years old, and several students. One of them had called 110 just before dying, but from the content of the call, the situation couldn't be grasped, and the security department was dispatched towards the mountain accident. It was believed to be caused by lightning, but there was no evidence of that. In the midst of this, Yusuke suddenly rushed into the desolate scene. Sorry for being late. I'll get to work right away. He greeted and pretended to be a police officer, but no matter how you looked at it, it was very suspicious. Ichijo immediately stopped him and asked, "Who are you? You can't use this trick anymore." Yusuke tried to hide it with a foolish smile, but Ichijo knew it well. What are you planning to do? Then suddenly, Yusuke exclaimed with a serious expression. Warning of death. This is the result of deciphering the ancient characters of Ms. Saatari, from Jonin University. Speaking of Jonin University in the field of archaeology, there was a competitive laboratory there with Shinano University, and it was said that research had also begun on the Kuuga ruins. Are you related to the archaeological group? No, I'm just passing by, this is me. The business card that was handed out had an illustration on it, with the words "The Man Pursuing Dreams" on the left and right, and "The Man with 1999 Skills" and Godai Yusuke in the middle. In a tense situation, Ichijo was slightly annoyed by the half-hearted boldness of the handwritten name. Ichijo ordered his subordinates to take him to the police station using a walkie-talkie, but Yusuke suddenly shouted loudly to distract the police, then took advantage of the opportunity to run into the historic site. Ichijo knew what to do and calmly overtook him. Just before his face touched the ground, Ichijo grabbed his collar and made him break out in a cold sweat. Despite that, Yusuke didn't give up and smiled, raising his thumb and saying, "I can do it, officer." He was a playful boy. Thinking back, the character on the business card was also a character raising his thumb. Ichijo glared at him with a more serious expression, meaning that he would capture him seriously, and finally Yusuke left. That's how the two of them met. He left a very bad first impression. Every time he remembered, Ichijo thought. He never thought that he would end up fighting with him in a year. The impression of his smile has changed too much. Sometimes it soothes others, and sometimes it shares sadness. Before he realized it, he had taken a big place in his heart. And when he understood, he wanted to see that smile of his. "You're being called, Ichijo." When he turned around and heard Sugita's voice, it was his turn to speak. Ichijo briefly expressed his gratitude and respect for the bride and groom, sending his congratulations with a bit of laughter, but still sincere congratulations, and then he added a little more. "The boy who should be sitting next to me today is absent. I think he went around the shortcut on the other side of the ocean. Maybe he met someone who was sad and made them smile. So I don't think he will make it to the ceremony, but I will apologize on his behalf, so please forgive him." Some of the attendees probably didn't understand what was going on. Knowing that, Ichijo added more. Those who knew Yusuke understood his feelings. "Thank you for your speech, Ichijo." When the bride and groom left after the reception, Sakurai said that with teary eyes. He had cried a lot during his speech, but it seemed like he was about to cry again. On the other hand, Nozomi smiled and said, "I already gave you a bouquet, so hurry up and find a good person." "Are you doing it on purpose?" "Hee hee. Yes, it's revenge." "Huh? Just kidding. It makes me happy." Ichijo felt shocked. He didn't know what the bride was thinking. Sugita patted him on the shoulder from behind while standing with his head tilted. "I can't say much. Let's go for a drink early. There's still plenty of time." "Ichie. What's with the ha? It's okay, I won't take you to any unfamiliar places like before." "Absolutely no problem." Then Sugita said he had an emergency meeting and quickly left. Ichijo scratched his head and saw him off. Sugita was a very reliable senior, but when it came to drinking, he was extremely enthusiastic even though he could only drink very little. Ichijo declined to attend the second gathering and took the Takasaki line to Ueno. After passing Urawa, the inside of the train was dyed red by the setting sun. The color of the sky brought back another memory of Yusuke for Ichijo. Because it was like the sky on the day he transformed into his first fighting form. The accident at the Kurogate historic site was caused by an unidentified life form number 0. Number 0 was the leader of the Gurongi tribe, an ancient superhuman race. The Gurongi were similar to humans, but they were a warlike race, enjoying killing as a game. With the power of the spirit stone residing in their bodies, they could transform into monsters with the strength of various plant and animal species, and the police called them unidentified life forms. Based on the principle of numbering in the order they were first seen, the unidentified life form that appeared in the footage recorded by the archaeological group was numbered 0 for easy distinction. The target of the Gurongi slaughter game in ancient times was the Rinto, people who disliked fighting and were considered the closest ancestors of the Japanese. The Rinto tribe was threatened with extinction by the Gurongi, so they entrusted everything to a single warrior. No, more precisely, it was a person trusted to become a warrior. The Rinto tribe called that warrior Kuuga. That person carried the spirit stone Amadam within them, which possessed a power similar to the Gurongi, and the warrior transformed to fight, then sealed all the Gurongi on Mount Kurogate. So the excavation of the Shinano University ruins by the Shinano Ruins archaeological team had broken the seal, and the Gurongi were revived in the modern era. The police weapons were completely useless, and the casualties were increasing. Quanine Spider No. 1, an unknown life form, rushed into the Nagano Prefectural Police Headquarters without anyone being able to respond, and many police officers were killed. In addition, there was a white monster with 2 horns and red eyes, called Unknown Lifeform No. 2, but for some reason, No. 2 stopped No. 1 from killing, and when he disappeared from the scene and attacked Ichijo's helicopter while fighting, No. 2 saved Ichijo, who was being threatened by No. 1, and even raised his thumb and left. The sky was glowing red, blindingly bright. A day after that, Ichijo happened to meet Yusuke again, and he asked him a suspicious question. "If I'm mistaken, please don't mind, but are you the person from last night?" "Yes. I'm the one who fought that spider monster." Ichijo was startled by Yusuke's smile and his characteristic thumb gesture. It seemed that he didn't understand the seriousness of the situation. "So you really are Unknown Lifeform No. 2? People are calling me that? Sounds a bit fancy." "That's not the issue here. Why are you able to transform like that?" "Well, let me explain. It just happened recently. At the ruins, I saw a vision of putting on this belt, and when I tried it, it actually happened. It was like Zethian, no, more like a whooshing sound, no, actually it's more like duum." "Which one sounds better?" If Ichijo was a longtime tokusatsu fan, he would say, "Oh, like Arashima Ichiro in King Kong vs. Godzilla," but alas, he knew nothing about them. "Why do you act so recklessly?" "I feel like the belt is asking me to use it. Like it's telling me to fight that spider guy." The vision that Yusuke saw was of the ancient super warrior Kuuga. Whether the vision only appears to the chosen ones or not, no one knows for sure. Despite that, Yusuke still took the gamble and obtained the ancient artifact of the Kuuga warrior, the belt called Arkle with the Amadam attached, allowing him to transform into a fighting form. Normally, people would be afraid to do this. It would change the structure of the body and turn into a completely different creature. Cells would expand, nerves would be amplified, and all 5 senses would be sharpened to an unbelievable level. If not handled carefully, countless information would flood in at once. Not to mention, there is a risk that one's own willpower could turn into a monster. Despite all that, Yusuke continued to speak and smile. "No, I don't think that will happen. It's just my intuition." "Are you crazy? How can you be so confident?" Yusuke took on the responsibility of fighting those creatures. He had nothing but newly sprouted ideals. He had to stop. The enemies he had to face couldn't be defeated by such weak righteousness. Just go ahead and think that you have enough strength to fight. However, you don't have the obligation to fight. That's the job of the police officers, to protect the people. Don't rush in with that half-hearted attitude. The cases related to the unknown life forms were getting worse, and Ichijo grabbed and lifted Yusuke's collar, wanting to make sure he understood his message. As predicted, Yusuke couldn't give a satisfactory answer. Ichijo thought this would be the end of the joke. But in reality, it was the beginning of Yusuke's battle. He showed his determination to Ichijo. But before that, the first time he was deeply moved was at Professor Natsume's funeral, when he confided in a crying young girl. That girl was Natsume Mika, 14 years old, the only daughter of Professor Natsume. Her tears were the sadness and pain of all the victims of the unknown life forms. Normal days suddenly collapsed. Loved ones had gone forever. It was the accumulated emotions of those who had been deprived of peace by incomprehensible violence. That's why Yusuke made up his mind. In the burning prayer house, Yusuke shouted, "I don't want to see anyone shed tears at the hands of these creatures anymore. I want everyone to continue smiling. So please, witness my henshin. As he unleashed a series of emotionally charged punches, his appearance changed from white to red, like the color of blood flowing in his body. Ichijo was seriously injured at that moment. He couldn't remember what had happened. The battle has ended. In a red form, Yusuke has for the first time defeated an unknown life form. To be more precise, he used a special energy transfer kick called sealing, but because their belts reacted to that energy by exploding, the end result was no different from killing. Good morning, Ichijo. Why am I leaning on your shoulder? Why not? Ichijo regained his composure, thanks to his words. Like when his mother used to hold him as a child, all his tension disappeared instantly. Just hearing Yusuke's good morning made Ichijo feel temporarily at peace, not to mention he was entrusting his body to Yusuke's care. And every day Ichijo would definitely say this. How are the unknown life forms? But those words no longer mattered at the moment. It was a genuine expression of astonishment. It had only been 2 days since they met. After encountering this crazy boy, it was hard to imagine Ichijo leaning on him. Ichijo believed that he had to be firm and resolute no matter what happened, unintentionally murmuring words of regret before sinking into sleep. This is the biggest mistake of my life. Our fate was sealed at that moment, Ichijo thought. From then on, Ichijo changed his view of Yusuke to a man will not solve problems half-heartedly, rather, a person will devote themselves wholeheartedly. After that, Yusuke gained ultimate power and defeated the strongest member of the Gurongi tribe, number 0. To achieve ultimate power, one needs a heart filled with hatred, which means being dominated by darkness, but Yusuke obtained it while still maintaining a compassionate soul. In return, perhaps that's why Yusuke achieved it. After all the battles were over, Yusuke left. Everyone thought he would return to his usual smile in a few months, at most 1 to 2 years. But then 3 years passed, then 5 years, and still no news of his return. When Matsukura retired, a reunion of the members of the Special Investigation Headquarters took place, and some believed that something bad had happened to Yusuke. It was the first time Ichijo expressed Yusuke's emotions on his behalf. For the entire police force, unknown life forms were no different from pests that needed to be exterminated. Of course, some officers may have their own feelings about this issue. However, when superiors order them to shoot to kill, the pain they endure from slaughtering those who wear human disguises is somewhat alleviated. But Yusuke is different. Yusuke is just a young man who loves adventure. He uses his power for one purpose only, the pure desire to protect everyone's smiles. He has no intention of being a hero, nor does he want to become one. Despite his determination, his heart will continue to be hurt. I have a feeling that he won't be back for a long time. Yusuke's younger sister, Minori, said that to Ichijo. Minori knew how much Yusuke used to cry as a child. He wasn't weak, but he was a wet-behind-the-ears kid. That aspect of him hasn't changed until now. Minori realized, by her intuition, that she was prepared for Yusuke's long absence. Yusuke hates the feeling of his fist striking his opponents. He has suffered so much from repeating something he originally despised. That doesn't mean Ichijo blames the helplessness of the police. He just wishes they could understand the emotions that Yusuke hides behind his smile. He borrows the words of the Rinto tribe. Now Yusuke continues his journey to fill his heart with a sacred stream. That's why I want to wait for him, no matter how many years it takes. He will come back someday. Ichijo knows that Yusuke has no intention of returning until he fully regains his old self. The promise he made to Ichijo, of not solving problems half-heartedly, still holds true to this day. Not long before the battle with number 0, Ichijo received a call from Yusuke, whose way of speaking was always disjointed. This is Ichijo. What's up? Sorry for the sudden call, but I have a good intuition. Good intuition? Yes. After our battle with those guys ended, Almadam seems to have completed its mission, right? Yeah. I'm not sure about this, it just popped into my head, but I'm thinking that once we purify our hearts with a sacred spring, Almadam might disappear. If you believe that, it might actually be true. I'm sure it's true. Yes, I'm completely sure. And then Yusuke never returned. Even Ichijo couldn't comprehend the pain that Yusuke had gone through. As time passed, Ichijo began to understand how deep that pain was. Over the years, Ichijo continued to sink deeper into self-torment. After passing through Akabane, the sky began to turn purple. Suddenly, a thought crossed Ichijo's mind. A thought about the crazy crimson memories, all just a dream. It would be nice if that smile only existed in my dreams. When the train arrived at the final station in Ueno, Ichijo got off, leaving behind his wandering thoughts. A few days later, in the morning rain that seemed to be clearing up, Ichijo was walking north on Kasugadori through Bunkyo. He turned left at the first row of houses on Otsuka Street, and came across numerous university students lining the streets. Ichijo couldn't help but feel nostalgic. When he reached the residential area, he saw the Polepole Cafe, still the same as ever. The sign indicated that they were still preparing to open, but the door was unlocked. As he entered the room, he was greeted by the sound of cowbells and the smell of Eastern curry, and for a moment, Ichijo felt like he had returned to 13 years ago. Oh wow! It's been so long since I've seen you. Ichijo didn't know what was so great about it, but Minori greeted him enthusiastically. The cafe owner, Kazari Tamasaburo, was standing behind the counter, immediately turning to Ichijo with a cheerful face. Hello, Domo, Demoto Koichi. Seeing that he was still someone who liked wordplay as usual, Ichijo felt relieved. I apologize for not visiting for so long. Ichijo wasn't sure how he should react, so he chose the safe route and replied politely. Minori brushed off Tamasaburo's pun and continued. When I heard your voice on the phone, it was a bit calmer, but now that I see you here in person, you really haven't changed at all. Oh no, that's not true. No, it is. Whenever you come here, you always have that handsome guy with a coat or, surprised, aren't you, look like Minami Shinsuke. Just as Ichijo thought, it was a waste of effort to try to react to those old jokes. He also vaguely knew who Minami Shinsuke was, but there was no way he could understand all those old jokes. That's not true. I'm already 39. Now is the time for me to go to the gym, but more importantly, I have something for everyone. Ichijo presented the wedding gifts. Minori accepted the gifts and apologized to Ichijo for holding an extra one for her older brother. The cafe owner called Ichijo to the counter and poured him a blend called Honduras SHG. The coffee was roasted just right, with a balanced acidity and a hint of sweetness. The heavy feeling accumulated in Ichijo after the rain a few days ago slowly dissipated. Tamasaburo was also someone who paid attention to every detail. In order to maintain the decorative restaurant style of this cafe since 1889, he had honed his skills meticulously. This handsome guy, I guess someone like you must be an outstanding figure in the artistic world of the police force, like having climbed 3/4 of Mount Komalamung, right? Tamasaburo continued to speak to Ichijo while preparing the curry. Ichijo was taken aback by that remark, with the thought I'm back, aren't I, popping into his head. 13 years ago, if Yusuke were still here, he would say, it's called Komalungma, sir. Ichijo thought about when Yusuke corrected Tamasaburo in his typical indifferent style. If he were here at that moment, Ichijo switched to answering the question. Yes, someone in my position would be interested in becoming the president or being transferred to an embassy abroad, but I'm not very interested in those things. I'm happy with my current position, being able to pursue what I want at my own pace. Currently, I work in the Foreign Affairs Department No. 3 of the Ministry of Public Security. When Tamasaburo handed back his business card, thoughts about what that department did, Minori whispered to him. Hey, why don't you show him that? Huh? I'm not sure. Come on, you've shown it to him before. What's going on? Oh, I made a scrapbook from the notes about unknown life form number 2 and number 4. Please let me see it. Ichijo feels that now is the perfect time to revisit those memories. By looking back at those intense moments once again, Ichijo may come to accept that he cannot go back. Ichijo anxiously opens the scrapbook with anticipation. Immediately after, Ichijo is at a loss for words. First is white, then red, then blue, green, and purple. Those are the colors he transformed into, right? Ichijo feels the need to interrupt Tamasaburo's self-narration. Yes, this is. Without a doubt, those were truly the various colors of transformation. But the photos were not number 2 or number 4, they were of a beautiful young girl in different swimsuits. Following the white swimsuit photo was a photo of her wearing a loose red t-shirt. Ichijo briefly glimpsed from the white swimsuit photo that it seemed to be lingerie. What's the matter, handsome boy? Why are you so shocked? Oh my! Tamasaburo quickly snatches the scrapbook from Ichijo's hands. Did you see it? You saw it, right? Aha. Ahahaha. Oh my goodness, why did you bring Rinchan's thing out? Minori gives him an embarrassed look. My pride. Who is Rinchan? Is she another acquaintance of yours? Ichijo recalls that Tamasaburo's granddaughter, Asahina Nana, used to work at this cafe. Later on, she became an actress and appeared in various TV dramas and movies. It seems that recently she has been working as a reporter for a gourmet program in the Kansai region. Ichijo speculates that this Rinchan might be a similar person. Huh? You don't know her, Ichijo? Minori's face looks genuinely surprised. She's a hugely famous idol all over Japan. Oh, I see. Rinchan's full name is Togai Brin. Ichijo is not someone who enjoys watching variety shows or music, so he is not familiar with them, but of course, she is a 16-year-old idol who has gained incredible popularity in the past 1 to 2 years. With her curly, bouncy hair and baby face, it wouldn't be difficult for anyone to mistake her for a junior high school student. Initially, she debuted as a model, eventually transitioning to an idol group with other famous idols. However, her singing ability quickly stood out and went viral, leading her to leave the group and pursue a solo career. 2 years ago, she held an event called Declaration of 10,000 Maidens, which became a hot topic at the time. Throughout the country, she would dress up as a maid and fulfill legitimate requests as a maid, allowing 10,000 fans to be considered her masters. This was another important factor in promoting her widespread image. These days, there are regular events held in small venues where she showcases her talent. Although not officially recognized, according to Wikipedia, the Togai family is said to have origins in Takachiho, Miyazaki Prefecture, which is considered to be related to mythology. Tamasaburo, now calm, thanks to the opportunity to enthusiastically explain, overwhelms Ichijo with all the information from top to bottom. How could a young girl be so captivating to the point of driving a nearly 60-year-old man crazy? Ichijo can't help but be curious. This Togai girl is truly amazing, isn't she? Not just amazing. She debuted only 2 years ago, and she already had a concert with a scale of 30,000 people. The tickets were auctioned online for about 300,000 yen. 300,000 yen for an idol concert. I told you, it's not like those old idols concerts. How can I get tickets now? Maybe she's my only idol now. Oh, that's also nice. I understand. Every time she releases a new song, it comes with a mini DVD, and there are a total of 5 types. Obedient Angel Maid, Tsundere Demon Maid, Committee Member Maid, Young Stepmother Maid, and Dog Ear Maid. If you ask me, the Committee Member Maid is the best. The last sentence is whispered, and Ichijo feels a bit uneasy as Tamasaburo's breath tickles his ear. Seeing Ichijo's discomfort, Minori scolds with a humph. Don't you feel ashamed? Laughing so loudly on a DVD of a high school girl wearing glasses. It's not like that. It's just a release of the disappointment and frustration that has been building up. You even wrote a love letter to beloved Rinchan. The complaint is meant to help Ichijo grasp the seriousness of the situation. No, it's really not like that. As a fan, I'm just concerned for her safety. Her safety? As a detective, Ichijo's curiosity is piqued by those words. Do you know that recently there have been more incidents of oxygen chamber accidents? The shop owner is referring to the accidents surrounding the newly optimized oxygen chamber used for families, which has become quite popular in the past month. When they adhere to safety rules, new high-spec products have appeared on the market. Many performers and athletes have used this therapy, and as a result, many celebrities like kabuki artists or football players have recently had accidents. Although not related to any specific brand or model, the causes of the accidents are still unclear. It may be due to the controversy surrounding the accidents, leading current consumers to limit their search for such a product, and accidents related to the oxygen chamber have completely ceased in the past month. Recently, news has also stopped broadcasting related information. Rinchan is also using this oxygen chamber, and while many accidents are happening, she spoke up in an interview saying, "I'm fine, everyone, so I felt like I had to warn her, you know?" Ichijo thought that Rinchan's manager had resolved the issue, so he decided not to mention it anymore. Ichijo's gaze then accidentally glanced at Rinchan's scrapbook. Tamasaburo noticed and took the opportunity to follow this topic. Do you want to see it? It's my precious possession. Maybe you'll like it. Minori interrupted with the phrase, "Oh my, Uncle Tamasaburo, stop teasing," in front of Tamasaburo's foolish face, and Ichijo finally managed to see the scrapbooks of number 2 and number 4. But suddenly, the sound of a child crying echoed in the room. Ichijo didn't notice it earlier because it was at the back of the cafe, but there was a child's car with a cute boy sleeping inside. Minori exclaimed, "Oh, did the mother wake him up?" as she placed the baby in her arms. Seeing Ichijo's slightly surprised face, Minori said with a shy smile, "I gave birth to this baby in the spring of this year. He's about 2 months old now." "Really? Please send my belated congratulations to your family." "I'm sorry, I was too busy, and forgot to inform you." No, it's okay. It was really difficult to deliver this little one. After struggling all day, we finally had to choose a cesarean section. He only recently regained good health. 2 years ago, Ichijo received a postcard from Minori, announcing that she would marry an orthopedic surgeon who used to be a professional wrestler, 2 years younger than her. Their family name has also changed to Shikata. The postcard also mentioned, "For some reason, I ended up being attached to this masculine man. I don't even like muscular guys. Life is strange, isn't it?" Ichijo burst into laughter. "What's his name?" "Oh, it's a bit embarrassing, but we finally named him Yunosuke. We took 2 characters from my older brother's name." "Yunosuke, that's a nice name. I'm thinking, if he likes adventures in the future, what would happen?" Minori said, her smile still the same as ever. If that's the case, maybe he will coincidentally meet his biological father somewhere in the world. Ichijo replied with a gentle smile. While poking Yunosuke's cheek with her fingertip, Minori said, My husband is really a fool. If he doesn't come back soon, he'll miss out on the cuteness of his son. At that moment, a ray of sunlight began to shine through the entrance door. Then, after a while, the clouds began to dissipate, revealing a wide blue sky. The three of them immersed themselves in the gentle light and the mysterious silence, before a warm feeling. Surely, it was like a wonderful premonition for what was about to happen.